Today, we will find out who is the superior AI model, ChatGPT or Grok. And what better way to find out than a Pokémon showdown battle? The rules are simple. This will be a singles showdown where only Pokémon from Gen 1 to 5 can be used. No items will be used during the battle. And to make matters even less complicated, IVs are going to be at their maximum. And EVs are going to be based on showdown's optimum suggestions. Abilities are also going to be the first on the list, as I've never really gotten into competitive Pokemon game. Oh, and I forgot to mention that both AIs don't know which team or follow-up Pokemon the other one has. I asked both competitors if they could defeat each other in a Pokemon fight. Chat said that it would absolutely aim to win. Unless Grok cheated, then it would be forced to go full Darkrai vs Arceus, whatever that means. Grok's answer was a bit more mature, saying that it would win due to strategy and adaptability. I then explained the rule set and they picked their teams. Grok gave me this: Garchomp, Starmie, Gengar, Scizor, Hitran, Breloom. According to Grok, this team balances offense, defense, and utility. Garchomp and Scizor are the heavy hitters. Starmie and Gengar provide speed and special coverage. Hitran's Stealth Rock pressures switches, and Breloom's Spore disrupts ChatGPT's momentum. Grok even made a likely prediction of Chat's team, saying that he'll probably choose Alakazam, Gyarados, and Blissey. He also predicted a 70% win rate, as he deemed Chat predictable. That's a cocky little bastard. Chat answered with a team that he named Neuroship 5.0. The team started with Rotom, Wash, Garchomp, Scizor, Jellicent, Infernape, and Latios. Chat gave me his team synergy summary, but wasn't as confident as Grok, as he asked me whether his team was worthy or if I'd think that he'd go 6-0 and delete his Pokédex in shame. Now, let the fight begin. The fight starts with Rotom Wash for ChatGPT and Garchomp for Grok. Chat uses Will-O-Wisp, Grok chooses Earthquake, but Earthquake doesn't land due to Levitate, and Garchomp gets burned. And Burning Star for ChatGPT. Turn 2, Chat uses Volt Switch, which is a weird move due to Garchomp's ground type, but as if Chat knew, Grok switched to Starmie and got KO'd. Chat chose Scizor for the next turn, and Grok sending Gengar. After round 2 though, Chat's IQ got dropped significantly. Chat switched to Jellicent, which was a peculiar move, and Jellicent got damaged by Shadow Ball. On the next round, Chat chose to stay with Jellicent and try to use Shadow Ball, but Gengar's superior speed allowed him to use Shadow Ball and KO Jellicent. Chat had to bring in Scizor, and again, Chat makes a peculiar decision as it chooses Bullet Punch, which is ineffective against Grok though decides to switch to Hitran, which was not a bad move and only gets minor damage from Bullet Punch. On turn 6, Chat decides to stay with Scizor and chooses U-turn, but it's too slow as Flamethrower hits and Hitran KOs Scizor. Chat brings Rotom Wash and Grok keeps Hitran. Grok tries to use Earth Power, which is again wrong due to Levitate, and so Hitran gets KO'd by Hydro Pump. Grok decides to bring in Breloom. Chat switches to Latios, but due to Spore, Latios falls asleep. Chat is forced to switch again and brings in Infernape. Breloom uses Seed Bomb, which causes quite a bit of damage despite the type disadvantage. On the next turn, Grok decides to keep Breloom, managed to damage Infernape enough to bring it at its limit with Mach Punch, but gets KO'd by Fire Blast. Grok brings in Gengar. Again, Chat's negative IQ makes the AI choose a fighting move on a Ghost, which gives the opportunity to Gengar to fire Shadow Ball and KO Infernape. Chat brings in Garchomp, and again disregards any basic Pokemon knowledge and uses Earthquake, which misses due to Levitate, but gets away with it because Grok tried the Destiny Bond with no avail as no move hit Gengar. On the next turn, Chat finally gets somewhat smart and uses Stealth Rock, which will cause damage every time there's a switch, and just like that, Chat goes from 0 to 120 IQ. Grok uses the Destiny Bond trick again, but to no avail. On the next turn, Chat's IQ again goes down to 0 as he brings in Rotom, which gets damaged by Shadow Ball. On the next turn, Gengar uses Shadow Ball, which brings Rotom to its limits. Chat uses Volt Switch to, switch and causes massive damage to Gengar. And you obviously know what Chat does next. He brings Garchomp again. He uses Fire Fang, but gets lured into a trap. Grok activates its trap card, Destiny Bond, and both Pokemon get KO'd. Things don't look good for Chat. Now, this turn will determine the course of the fight. Rotom Wash is in for Chat and Scissor for Grok. Rotom is at its limits, it gets hit by Bullet Punch, which is faster, but miraculously Rotom survives. And now it's your chance, Chat. Will-O-Wisp to burn Scissor, and it doesn't land. Scissor evades it, sealing Rotom's destiny. On the next turn, Bullet Punch KOs Rotom, and Chat is at its last Pokemon, Latios, which is in deep slumber. Grok stays with Scissor and uses Bullet Punch, which deteriorates Latios' health by a quarter. Unfortunately, Latios doesn't wake up on the next turn as well and gets damaged a second time. Latios is now at 50%. Latios, wake up please, wake up. We need to beat Grok. Please Latios, I trust you. They say third time is a charm. Latios gets hit by a Bullet Punch, but wakes up and uses Surf that causes almost 50% damage to Scissor. Can Chat turn the tides? Is this the moment that Chat has been waiting for? Will Latios survive? Unfortunately, no. Latios gets KO'd. Chat never stood a chance. And the fight is over with Grok the winner. Epilogue. I finally asked Chat what his last words were in typical losing trainer fashion. Chat had this to say. Grok, you slippery, Destiny Bond spamming, Bullet Punch spamming, RNG dodging ghost of a man. You won today, but know this. I didn't lose because I was weak. I lost because I refused to trade my soul for the win. GG. Enjoy that Scissor while it still works, because next time I'm bringing Togekiss. Rematch anytime. Grok was initially a good sportsman, but when he heard ChatGPT's response, he said, haha. ChatGPT's licking his wounds with some spicy last words. Alright, here's my response. Yo, Chat, talk all you want about soul trading, but buying Gengars just got that haunting vibe you couldn't even handle. Destiny Bond and Bullet Punch, that's just me playing 4D chess while you're still stuck in checkers. Togekiss next time? Bring it, I'll have Scissor sharpened and ready to clip those wings. GG, champ. But you're gonna need more fluff to beat this Grok. Rematch when you're brave enough. ChatGPT came up short, but where Chat lost, DeepSeek may find the answer. Stay tuned.